And we welcome in Carney to the program. It is always good to see you. I don't want to give away whatever your speech might be this weekend and all the things you might say, but as you head into all of this, what things are on your mind about this honor?
You know, when I got the call, first off, I didn't even know the A's had an Oakland A's Hall of Fame until last year when Joe Rudy got inducted. So, you know, I wasn't even aware of the past years. But, you know, when I got the call from Deetra, who works for the A's, to tell me that I was voted in, it was a bit of a shock. It's just a tremendous honor, you know, to join the guys that I idolized growing up, you know, the early 70s A's. Joe Rudy, Campy, Sal, Catfish, Vida, all those guys. Just to be with them and then some of my former teammates, it's just a tremendous honor.
Stu, you played with Carney. He has the reputation of being a, quote, red ass. Do you want to elaborate on that? I'm not sure if I can say that. They'll bleep me if I can't. Do you want to elaborate on what he was like as a teammate?
He was intense, bro. Well, the days that we played, he was intense. But, you know, that's why we looked at Carney as our captain.
Yeah.
Carney would talk to players and say the things that nobody else would say. When it came to dealing with some of the things that went on in our clubhouse that sometimes weren't even addressed by our manager. Carney would address those things with the player and also address them with the manager to just let the manager know that, hey, this is where we are as a team, this is what we're feeling as a team, and we need to balance these things out, and we feel that this is your responsibility to handle it. And so that's what team captains do, but that's also what takes place in the type of clubhouse. You have to have a Carney Lansford in your clubhouse for everybody to play the game the way the game is supposed to be played. And he was the example of how we played baseball.
Carney, I don't think the bat handle had a chance when you were in your stance and you were gripping that thing so tight. Was that just part of who you've always been, like that intensity in everything you approach?
Yeah, I even go back to high school. My high school head coach would tell me, I know how to get you out. And I'm like, you got no chance to get me out. He's like, all I got to do is just hold the ball because you're going to be in there moving your hands and doing all that stuff. I just won't throw the ball up there.
That's awesome.
But going back to what Stu was talking about, what you guys were talking about there, that intensity really came from, I'm going to blame it on Joe Rudy, because when I moved up to Oregon, we were teammates with the Angels, and then we both got traded the same year to Boston. And he would have us over to his house, and he'd have his 3 full-size World Series trophies in his radio room, and I'd have to look at those every time I would go over there. And honestly, I wanted one so bad. I was going to do anything to get one of those trophies. So if that means get in somebody's face or whatever he had to do, so be it.
You know, talking about the history of the Oakland A's, specifically at the third base position, there have been some great players over the decades, from Sal Bando to Eric Chavez, Josh Donaldson, Matt Chapman, obviously yourself included. But taking yourself out of the picture for just a second, was Sal your guy, or have any of the others been your favorites over the years? Who's your other favorite A's third baseman?
You know, Brody, I have to say, only because, like I said, I idolized the early 70s A's.
Yeah.
When they were winning 3 straight World Series, 72, 3, and 4, I was a freshman in high school in 72, and I watched those guys because they played a lot of day games. We were in school, but our teachers would let us listen to the games on the old transistor radios. So, you know, and plus I lived in Santa Clara.
Right.
And the A's played on channel 36 back then, and Captain Sal Bando would do the commercial saying, hey, come out and watch us play or whatever. So I just really always idolized Captain Sal Bando. So I would have to say, of all the guys, and you're right, there were some great third basemen before me and after me, and I had to go back though to Sal. You know, Captain Sal is my man.
Hey, Carney, you hit second in the lineup on more cases than not with Ricky Henderson as our leadoff guy. Tell me how that all played out. How did you go up? What was your approach with Ricky as the leadoff hitter and you hitting second?
You know, it was really difficult at first because, you know me, Stu. I wasn't waiting around trying to hit 0-2 or 1-2 or whatever all the time. You know, I was an early in the count guy, but at the same time, Ricky needed to steal bases, and so you needed somebody to go up there and take a couple strikes for him sometimes to take that base. So at first it was difficult, but you know, when we got him the second time after he came back from New York, we sat down and talked, and I told Ricky, I said, look, there's certain guys that, I can take 2 strikes and still feel confident about getting a hit off the guy or making good contact. But there's some guys, I need 3 swings, man. I can't spot a guy a strike or 2 and then feel confident that I can still put the ball in play. And he just told me, he said, look, you go ahead and you let me know the guys that you have trouble with or you need 3 swings, I'll get them myself. And so the communication there was great. And honestly, he came up with the thing. He said, when I'm on first base, I said, I just need to know when you're going to run, because sometimes you would deke and you take a pitch and he didn't run, and now it's your 0-1 or now you're 0-2. So I said, give me some kind of a sign to let me know when you know you're going to go that pitch. And he said, I will pick my pants, the side of my pants. If you see me pick, I'm going. I said, perfect. And then from then on, we never had a problem. I would take that pitch, and so it was just really a matter of communication. But that's the toughest thing to do, is hit behind Ricky Henderson, because he was the greatest base stealer ever. But then you had a lot of times hit with 2 strikes and still try to get a base hit or put the ball in play and make something happen. So yeah, it was difficult, Stu.
Carney, I feel like you've done it all. You won a World Series with the A's. You returned to baseball as a coach. Heck, you worked with us here at NBC Sports a handful of years ago as an analyst. You were also the bad guy in Angels in the outfield. Stu didn't even know you had an at-bat off of Tony Danza. We'll save that conversation for another time, but thanks for joining us here. I very much look forward to this weekend, and I got to say, just watching all of this and seeing you play growing up, this is so special, and thank you for being a good friend here.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. It's been a pleasure to be there, and I can't wait till this next weekend.